Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Cody, formerly the Mirror Minute. I'm Cody, your host, and today we want to think about the past episode that we did with Black History Month. I'm still working to get that follow-up episode with a couple more of our staff members. But in the meantime, the month has turned to March, and so we've got a lot of exciting things coming in this month. First of all, March Madness is coming up, so Rock Chalk Jayhawk, or if you're like my friend here, Justin, who roots for the UCLA Bruins, whatever they do. Also in March, we're also going to talk about Problem Gambling Month, which will be an episode coming up. I'll be talking with Kevin Ford, one of our counselors out in the Great Bend area, who is a certified gambling counselor in the state of Kansas. But first, we want to talk about Social Work Month. And so with that, I'm very honored to be with one of the best social workers around, especially here at Mirror, Justin Soriano. And I've had the opportunity to see Justin and his social work career from the beginning, from him being in school to working with me at a past organization and then here at Mirror. So I just want to kind of turn it over to Justin and let him talk about himself as well as what he does here at Mirror.
Thank you, Cody. My name is Justin Soriano, a licensed master's level social worker, licensed master's level addictions counselor, alumni from East Los Angeles College with my associates, Bethel College with an undergrad in social work, and then from the Wichita State University with my master's in social work. So what I do here at Mirror is I offer substance use treatment and mental health treatment, co-occurring disorders, offer individual and group therapy services for adults and adolescents, trying to provide services for the city of Wichita to an underserved population and a stigmatized population with addiction and, again, co-occurring disorders.
All right, thanks, sir. So what brought you to this field of social work?
Well, as any social worker would know and laugh when they wanted to get into psychology to help folks. Yeah. So psychology wasn't for me, very research-based at Bethel College where I was attending. So instead, I wanted to see how I can make a difference for folks, being hands-on. And social work, when I found out the community justice aspect of it and the self-determination pieces and just going over social work ethics, I felt real passionate in social justice issues. So that's what initially drew me into social work. And after learning about addiction and how things tied into me on a personal level, that felt like the most comfortable route for me to go.
Very good, very good. So with it being Social Work Month, what does being a social worker mean to you?
Well, being able to provide services to help the individual in the micro level is something that really empowers me, seeing that I'm making a difference one person at a time. Understanding that I can't change the world and change its problems all at once. I can do it one step at a time. And the important part of that is I'm helping individuals change on the goals that they set.
Right.
Not from my personal view or whatever my biases are towards my beliefs towards just where we're at today in today's social climate and just everything that's going on in the world. I'm able to help people get to where they want to be and be the best version of themselves. So it's a good aspect. It's a good aspect to have when you're really focused on social justice, because helping empower folks who are underserved and who are not privileged or underprivileged, being able to help them be the best person that they feel they can be is the way that I could achieve social justice as well. So meeting both, I think primarily working in macro settings really helps the micro settings and macro settings because I'm helping the city of Wichita and the surrounding places by working micro and then making the change into meso macro.
Very good, very good. And you guys may have picked up on Justin talking about basically personalized treatment planning, which is something that we really value here at Mirror. But then just in general, it's best practice, in the field of mental health and in substance use, allowing the client to be a part of that treatment planning process and being a collaborative portion of the recovery process, more or less. So he threw around a lot of really good social work words there too: micro, meso, macro, impacting the community at different levels. So really good stuff. How about looking at specifically the substance use field? So what does it mean to not only be a social worker, but be in this underserved field of addictions and substance use?
Well, there's a lot of stigma around folks who use substances and folks who can identify themselves as addicts. They're understanding how addiction is a disease and how the symptoms that they display are what we perceive to be as badness or criminalized behavior. But when we take a look at the history of addiction, the history of folks with substance use, and how we typically treat them, we incarcerate them and we make them out to be criminals. So when we plug in addiction and how that fits the disease model, that badness per se that society gives these folks, um, we're able to help them change their perspective on themselves first and foremost. And as we continue to build partnerships with the community of Wichita, community corrections, other mental health facilities, and other placements for adolescents, that stigma is slowly being worked out, and seeing the symptoms and being able to treat them just like we would any other disease like cancer or diabetes. Treating the disease as a disease and not just a choice. So
We might have to have Justin back for the episode, whenever that may be, where we talk about addiction as a disease, not as a moral failing or a choice necessarily, but a disease of choice. It affects the very ability to make decisions when you're in that active addiction. So awesome. We'll kind of start to wind down here because, as you know, on the show, we try to keep it to less than 10 minutes, keep those short bursts of relevant information. So last question I really have for Justin would be, with it being Social Work Month, what do people need to know about social work and social workers?
Sure. So first and foremost is that social work is not just folks taking away children. We're much more than that. We try to bring a holistic view towards being able to help serve the community and serve folks who are in need. Social workers are community justice, or social justice, self-determination folks who want to help those who need the assistance. So anybody who feels that they're underprivileged or need assistance with anything, we are the voice for these people. We're much more than just what TV shows tell us, what the media perceives of us. I know that there's a lot of stigma out there on what social workers are, but in reality, just like just like any other professionals that there are, we do have a job to do. We're here to keep the best interest of our clients and who comes in to seek our services, and just trying to commit to our job day in and day out. So yeah, we're much more than just what the perception of the public has us to be, whether that's working with public agencies, doing community justice work, mental health work, folks in schools, and so on and so forth. They're just social workers are just so big in the United States, especially, and in the world. But we're just much more than pencil pushers and folks that take away kids. That's not what we do.
Right. I think something that I appreciate about the profession of social work is the versatility of it, the ability to work in so many different areas and fields and use our strengths, to help people, which is ultimately what we do. So, Justin, any kind of last thoughts or words for you?
Sure. So, in advocacy and what's going on in the world today, I want to be able to speak on the stuff that's going on in Ukraine right now. So we want to show the solidarity with Ukrainians and other folks who are struggling at this time. And we want to show support to our troops and things of that nature. But, for the people who are impacted right now, we want to at least send our support. And if you are a person of prayer, to be able to send prayers their way for folks that are going on there. We also want to make sure that we vocalize and we continue to say that Black lives do matter. And we want to make sure that message never goes away too. And, just to be able to advocate and continue to be a voice as a social worker and as a person who serves the population that we just listed. So.
Very good. Well, that's going to conclude our episode, this trial run of Conversations with Cody. So I'm really happy to have had Justin with me. Not only does this give us kind of a staff spotlight for one of our awesome Wichita OP clinicians, but also a look at a social worker during Social Work Month. So looking forward to more staff spotlights at Wichita OP, and then also just in general, talking to all the great folks around here at Mirror. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.